Good afternoon, travel professionals. Sorry for getting a little bit of a late start here. We had some technical issues, but those are all worked out. Thank you for joining us today for this JaxFax training session. We do appreciate your time. I'm Doug Cook, publisher of JaxFax Travel Marketing, and I will be moderating today. And today we're joined by Jimmy Stravopoulos from Agencia Global and Alex Iglesias from Fiji Airways, who are going to be giving you an overview of Agencia's consolidated air booking platform and updates on Fiji Airways. Just a reminder, there is going to be a giveaway very generously provided by Fiji Airways. And in order to qualify for those tickets, there are a couple of things you will need to do, and that will be to attend the entire session and also to sign up for Agencia Global's booking system, and Jimmy will give you more information about that as we get started here. Just a couple reminders, we will have time for questions and answers, so do please give us those in the space provided, and we will get to them at the end of the presentations. And also today's presentation is being recorded. Jimmy gets very in-depth in the system, so this is a good opportunity for you to be able to go back and review it at your leisure. We will send you a link to that recording, and it's also always available on jaxfax.com underneath Advisor Resources. And with that, that's all from me. Let me turn things over to Jimmy.
Thanks, Doug. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you're tuning in from. I'm Jimmy. I'm the Director of Sales over at Agencia Global. For those of you who are tuning in once again, compared to last webinar, I'm actually running it from the office today, so no internet shortages in the forecast as last time. But I'm very grateful to be joined today by Alex from Fiji Airways as well, who was gracious enough to provide us with that raffle ticket. So hopefully today you could have a look at one of the most versatile booking tools on the market and get a free trip out of it as well. So basically today we're just going to do a test booking of a Fiji Airways itinerary, just to kind of give you an idea of what the booking process is like on Agencia Global, show you some of the features and benefits versus some of the tools you might already be working with. And as Doug mentioned, we'll take your questions at the end of the webinar as well. Regarding the Raffle Prize, as mentioned, we do ask that you attend the entirety of the webinar and then also create an account on Agencia Global. So we're not going to ask you necessarily to make a booking in order to qualify, but just simply register. It's free to sign up with Agencia Global. We don't charge any transactional fees, any registration fees, any monthly fees, or anything to that effect. And we actually have a 100% commission share policy. So whatever the agents pay us at time of ticketing, you are entitled to 100% of that. So on that note, let's just get into Agencia. So when you log in, this is your homepage. So right away, you could proceed to booking a flight or a car rental. Right below that, you have a section that indicates bookings requiring attention. So if anything's been flagged for a schedule change, a fraud check, any quotes that you've saved perhaps, the booking number would show up right here as a hyperlink. So you could actually click on it and open up that booking and take action as needed. And then right below here, you have your Agencia Global News section. So once upon a time, we used to save this only for Agencia-specific news, so any updates made to the platform or anything to that effect. But we've kind of changed gears recently, and we've added any Agencia-specific promotions that we've developed in collaboration with our airline partners. So for this week, thanks to Alex, we actually have a 5% bonus commission with Fiji Airways between today and December 31st. So you get 10% on North America to Fiji and 15% on North America to Australia or New Zealand. And we do ask, we made a little point here of asking you to click on their banner for more information. So you'll notice throughout the presentation that the Fiji Airways banner will show up. If you click on that, the promo information will show up right up there. So as mentioned, 10% to Fiji, 15% to Australia and New Zealand. And that's 100% of what Fiji Airways is providing us with. So on that note, Alex, now that the agents kind of know how you went over and above to put a bit more in their pocket for the bookings they make between now and the end of the year, probably a great opportunity for you to introduce yourself and just kind of speak to Fiji Airways talk about Fiji Airways for those who are not too familiar with the airline yet.
Sure. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Jimmy, for having me and give us the opportunity to showcase Fiji Airways to the team. Fiji Airways is the national airline of Fiji. Our network spans across 108 destinations in over 15 countries, including co-shares. Our destinations include Fiji, Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, and Hong Kong. From North America, we fly from 3 gateways: Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Honolulu. All our flights go to our hub in Nadi, Fiji. And Fiji Airways is a member of the One World Global Alliance. Our guests can earn and redeem mileage through the American Airlines and Alaska Airlines mileage programs.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So on that note, let's get into booking a Fiji Airways itinerary. So from your homepage, you just click on book flights, and that'll bring you to your search page. So booking on Agencia is a 3-page process. If it's so simple that if you're already familiar with booking yourself a ticket on an online travel agency, such as an Expedia, for example, you can you're already knowledgeable enough to make money booking someone else's ticket on Agencia. So you could proceed to booking either a round trip, a one-way, or a multi-city itinerary, multi-city allowing for up to 5 city pairs. And then right over here, you'll see USD CAD. At Agencia, we've negotiated commission and net fare contracts with over 150 airlines in both Canada and the US. So one of the upsides of working with Agencia is that you could access both our POS Canada or POS USA commissions and net fares. So this actually isn't just a currency display selector, but a content selector, a point of sale selector. So if, for example, you're based out of Seattle and you want to make a booking out of Vancouver, then go right ahead, click on CAD, and then you'll access our commissions and net fares for point of origin Vancouver, which tend to be more lucrative if you're making a point of sale Canada booking. So at this point, you would just enter your origin and destination. So let's say we're doing just an LAX to Fiji direct flight at some point next year. Let's say when it gets nice and cold, although LA doesn't get that cold. But I'm presenting from Montreal, where it's already 33 degrees today, so this sounds pretty good right about now. Agencia will allow you to add up to 9 passengers on one PNR. So you simply provide the breakdown of adults, children, infants on lap or on seat, and then you could even isolate your cabin class if you'd like. We'll just leave that as all for the purposes of the demo. If you want to book only nonstop flights in the search results, then you could just check that box off right there, and it'll just make the search process a little speedier. And then finally, Agencia by default will always provide, among all search results, 2 one-way fares in lieu of a round-trip fare, should the price for that be lower. So if you only want a true round-trip fare on one ticket, then you would just hit disable multi-tickets, and then you'll only get those true round-trip fares. And then finally, you could even filter results to display only the airlines you really want to book on. So you could actually look up the airline either by spelling their name or by typing in their airline code and then checking it off as such. So we'll leave it as all, just to show all search results possible. And from that point, you would just click on search flights. It'll run through the GDS, looking through all our commission and net fare contracts. Usually takes about 25 to 30 seconds. And here's our loading page. So in the meantime, while this is loading, Alex, I guess I'll cede the floor back to you. On our banner, you actually put the Airbus 350, which you also wanted to speak about a bit. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, we recently acquired the A350 900 extra wide body, which is an excellent aircraft. And we ran it from Los Angeles daily, nonstop to Fiji. It's actually an extremely comfortable equipment. The seats are very, very comfortable, and it's one of the most quietest aircrafts in the world at the moment. We have 2 cabins in the A350, business and economy. The business class has 33 seats in a 1-to-1 seat configuration. giving direct access to each passenger to the aisle. And the seats also lie fully flat, make it one of the most comfortable seats in the industry. We also offer Wi-Fi connectivity throughout the cabin for a reasonable price. And the economy cabin, the seat configuration is 333, and the first 10 rows are called the Bula Space seat, which gives you additional up to 4 inches of space. And then I also wanted to highlight that Fiji is travel ready. We have been awarded various certificates in the industry, such as the airline safety rating by Skytrax, which is regarded as the global benchmark for evaluating COVID-19 safe travel. We also had been awarded the Diamond certification, which is the highest standard for travel safeguards in a COVID world by Apex and Simply Flying. And also
awesome.
I want to highlight.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, no, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry about that, Alex. No, I thought you were done. Continue, sorry.
No, go right ahead. I'll mention this on the next segment, no worries.
Perfect. So now we're at our search results page. So at the top, we're just going to recap whatever information you entered on the search page. So we're accessing our point of sale US content, and we're booking a flight, obviously, round trip from Los Angeles to Fiji, February 11th to 18th for 5 passengers, 5 adults. So right below that, we have our carrier matrix. So what this is going to do is give you the list of carriers in ascending order of lowest available price from left to right, broken down by number of stops. So the lowest overall price, regardless of number of stops, will be highlighted in green, and then the lowest price from the other 2 rows will be highlighted in blue, and all 3 of those will be brought right here at the front for you to see. So for example, here we know that the lowest price overall is $44.88 with Fiji Airways, and then we kind of could immediately rule out the connecting flights, since not only are they connecting flights, but also more expensive. You then have your flexible day matrix. If you click right here, so this is a bit of an exceptional situation, you'll see the same price across the board. That's because Fiji is the lowest in literally every one of these date combinations. So it's that same pair of $44.88 showing up. But basically what we do for you here is we add and subtract 3 days from both the outbound and the inbound date and give you the lowest available price for that date combination. Now, when I hover over any of these prices, you'll see that the row in the column highlight in blue to kind of make it easier on the eyes for you. If you have a passenger who's flexible on outbound, for example, but not inbound, and vice versa. And my mouse pointer turns into a little finger here. It's because all of these prices are hyperlinked. So I won't do it now just to save time, but if you were to click on any of these prices, the search will automatically rerun, same origin destination, same tax breakdown, but for the date combination that you clicked on. So if I were to click on this $44.88 right over here, it would give me the results page for February 10th to 20th travel, for example. So we'll just close that up. And then up here, if I just return to the carrier matrix, this is to give you a really high level idea of where all carriers stand, but it doesn't really give you an idea of, how many seats are available, base versus tax breakdown, in the case of connection times, what those connection times are. So it's down here in the available flights section that you'll get more information. So from left to right, we have our validating carrier, the type of fare. So this is where you would see if it's a published fare or a net fare, your RBD, your price per pax, and then when you hover over it, you get a breakdown of what the base fare and the taxes are, your grand total. The little blue luggage icon right over here, when you click on it, will actually open a new window and bring you directly to the airline's baggage allowance page. So in this case here, we've done it this way to eliminate human error as much as possible. So if an airline updates their baggage policy and the person responsible for that here at Agencia Global is on vacation, well, there won't be any lapse in information in that time period. So anytime the airline updates their site, we redirect you straight there so you can get it direct from the horse's mouth. Before I return to the search results, Alex, I think you wanted to mention a few more things also about the luggage policy, your reaccommodation policy, and I'm sorry I did cut you off earlier, so whatever else you wanted to add?
Sure, no worries. Yeah, basically about the luggage, we allow 1 piece per adult and children at 30 kilograms or 66 pounds, or 3 pieces in business class at 30 kilograms or 66 pounds. I wanted to mention earlier that we have implemented a program called the Wellness Ambassador. So we put a person on each of our flights, trans-Pacific flights, for the safeguard and health of all our customers and staff. So we're very mindful of the day we live in today, and we have always, we're going to have always someone on each of our flights that fly out of North America in case, it is needed, or for consultations as well. We just renew our peace of mind policy, where we are expanding it, and we are allowing unlimited day changes at no additional cost to the passengers for tickets that are purchased through June of 2022. And any reservation that is held in credit are now valid until June of 2023.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So we'll just return back here to the search results. When you click on View Flights, you'll get in ascending order the available itineraries for that flight. So in this case, we have our direct flight right here at the top at 4487, and then a connecting option right down here at 6624, which obviously you wouldn't book for your passengers. But I'm happy that this showed up because it'll allow us to give you a better idea of what we're showing down here. So from left to right, you've got the number of seats remaining. The GDS displays it as 9, whether there are 9 or more seats. So in this case, there are 9 or more seats available on the flight. You've got your flight number. Now, if there's a little asterisk next to the flight number, as there is in this case here, when you hover over it, it'll show who the operating carrier for that flight is. You then have your RBD, your segment OD, departure and arrival times, and finally the flight duration. If you click on the little blue eye right over here, once again, kind of as we did with the baggage policy with Fiji Airways, you'll get a little pop-up right over here, and we've pulled all the fare rules directly out of the GDS. So if you have any inquiries about the fare rules, feel free to click on that little blue eye, and everything here from Amadeus in this case is displaying on my screen. And again, no lapse in time between when the airlines update their fare rules and when Agencia will present it, since we're pulling directly from the GDS. In the case of direct flights, you'll obviously see only one outbound and one inbound flight. But in the case of a connecting flight, you'll have a little dashed line separating them. And then the connection time is highlighted right between them. So in this case here, it's a 4-hour, 32-minute connection. Any connection time over 4 hours is highlighted in red. Anything 3 hours and 59 minutes or less is highlighted in green. Now, on that note, you'll note here that it says there's no commission. Now, that's just one of the features of the demo account that I'm using here just to present the tool. But as mentioned earlier, feel free to click on the banner and you'll see that in this case here, you're eligible for 10% since we're doing an LAX to Fiji itinerary. Now, in a true agent account, not my demo account, you would see a little commission calculator kick in, and it would tell you exactly how much you stand to make as you click on the outbound and the inbound flights. So no need to fish through a bunch of PDFs or your email inbox to see how much you stand to make on a published fare. You'll see it right there immediately. So at that point, you've selected your outbound, you selected your inbound flights, you're ready to book. So I said, booking with Agencia is a 3-page process. We're already done with 2 of the 3 pages, and off we go to the confirmation page. So same concept as when we moved from the first to the second page. We've got about a 25 to 30 second wait while information is being confirmed. And the top of the 3rd page, as was the case with the top of the 2nd page, is going to recap the information you selected on the previous page. So up here, we have our flight details. So you've got your outbound flight, you've got your inbound flight, departure and arrival times. We even mention the aircraft, in this case here, the A350-900 that Alex was mentioning earlier, your RBD. If you forgot to click on the little blue luggage icon, you could do so here. We've brought it to the checkout page as well. But now that you've actually selected your fare, when you hover over it, a little pop-up will show up and show you how much luggage is included per pax. Now, you may or may not have noticed I clicked on the little autofill button. That's another feature of my demo account. You wouldn't see that, but basically, I don't want to waste anyone's time here showing you how to fill out a form with passenger information. So that just filled out the 5 pax slots with fake names. And then finally, we are going to get to our price breakdown section, which is right over here. So this is where Agencia separates itself from the pack when it comes to what other consolidators on the market have to offer. So as mentioned earlier, you see here there's a $387 commission. Now, on the previous page, one of the things with the demo account is it doesn't show it how much you stand to make. But in this case here, you do see it, 387. That's basically the 10% of this 3,875. So you see how much you stand to make in terms of both commission and markup. Your commission is highlighted right over here. But what Agencia allows you to do is also add additional fees to that. So in this case here, pretty good commission for LAX to Fiji being 10%. But let's say, for example, you're offering them A1 service. They could call you at any time of day if they have any questions or while they're on their trip. You've arranged for limousine services, sightseeing tours, hotel room upgrades, you name it. For one reason or another, let's say you believe your fare warrants an additional markup of $200 per passenger. So you want to mark up this fare by another $1,000. Now, in the case of a net fare or a published fare, we will allow you to mark it up directly right over here. But in the case of either a net or a published fare, when you hover over the little question mark over here, it'll tell you right away how much the airline allows for as a markup on their merchant account and how much Agencia allows for. So in this case here, it's a published fare, obviously industry standard. You can't mark up a published fare on the airline's merchant account, but that doesn't mean that you can't mark it up at all. See, in our case here, we've also mentioned maximum agency markup is $7,750. Basically, that number right there is double this number right here. So whether you're booking a pub or a net, Agencia will allow you to mark up by up to double the base fare. So let's enter that $1,000 markup right over here. Once you enter your $1,000 markup, you'll see here you still have your base fare. This is broken down by pax and then your grand total here at the bottom. So you still got your base fare that remains intact, your taxes, subtotal, your markup, and then there's a service fee for a grand total of $55.17. So why is there a service fee? Right now, I'm not showing you anything that any other consolidator on the market can't already offer you, which is to apply incremental markup on their merchant account. So we'll have the published fare and taxes of $44.8735 on Fiji's merchant account, and then your incremental markup of $1,000 goes on our merchant account, and there's a 3% service fee applied there, basically just to offset the costs with the bank, for using our merchant account. Now the thing is, when we do webinars like this one, we always ask not only for feedback on the webinar itself, but basically, what are you facing as a headache in your day-to-day as a travel agency or a travel agent that no one in the consolidation market has solved for you? And one of the things we heard very often during feedback sessions was that agents were shying away from marking up their tickets as much as they thought they could, just to avoid, quote unquote, burning a future sale, and as a result, repeat business. So what do I mean by that? Basically, in this case here, we said you're offering A1 service, you're throwing in a bunch of value-added features. So you've presented this as a package price of about $5,500, including everything that you've offered. Now, although you're charging $55.17, customer goes home and they're going to see two separate charges on their credit card statement. So all of a sudden, you could get a phone call kind of with the third-degree style interrogation asking you, could I have upgraded the room myself and saved some of that? How much did the sightseeing tour cost? Did you just flat out put $1,000 in your pocket? So agents would either not mark up their published fares at all or mark up their net fares by, let's say, the industry standard tends to be 25%. They'd mark up those net fares by only 25% when they knew they could mark it up by more, just because they didn't want the separate line item showing up on the customer's credit card. So we have a solution for that. Now, in this case here, before I show you that solution, I'll just draw your attention back to the agency payout section. You see here that you have your markup of $1,000, your commission of $387, so you stand to make a total of $1,387 on this ticket, on this PNR, excuse me. So at this point, we see the total charge of $55.17, but we've got two line items on the customer's credit card, and that's because if we rewind and go right back here to the pricing strategy drop down, you'll see that lowest price is selected by default. So what we mean by lowest price is, if you want to mark up this fare, the lowest price you could charge the customer is this $55.1735, but with 2 different credit card charges. That said, if you click on the little drop down and hit single charge, the price will probably go up by about $150 or so. There we go, $145. So you get a revised total of $56.51. But why is that? Because now we've removed the base fare and taxes from Fiji Airways merchant account, and we've placed it all on our merchant account. So that 3% not only applies to the incremental $1,000 you added, but rather the entirety of the fare. So that's where the extra $140-ish came from. Now that said, if you were really targeting, the 5,500 range, at that point you could adjust your markup accordingly, lower it by 150, and there you are back to around $5,500. So it's up to you if you use a single charge feature, whether you just adjust your markup accordingly to offset that fee, or if you think, hey, they're willing to pay that $5,600. In that case, put your $1,000, and you're at $56.51, and away you go. So at this point here, the only after sale call you really have to worry about is maybe a customer is going to see their credit card statement, see Agencia Global there and say, well, I bought a Fiji ticket from ABC Travel and I'm not seeing either one of those names on this credit card statement. So they might call you, at which point you can clarify, that we're the company that issues your tickets and we use our merchant account for the transaction. But yes, indeed, that is the ticket you bought from me, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, and off you go. You never have to divulge how much you marked up your ticket by. So that's one of the things that we heard a lot from the travel agent community, was that they wanted the ability to mark up their fare by more than what the airlines allowed for without having to divulge how much they're putting in their pocket. And then the second thing we heard often, and that brings me back to why I actually wanted to do a test booking here for 5 passengers, was that agents would tell us that they were fed up of having to book, for example, 5 separate PNRs for 5 customers, all traveling together, who each want to pay with their respective credit cards, because one's collecting cash back, the other one's collecting Costco points, or what have you, or some people just want to pay for their own fare and not have to worry about paying back another friend or collecting from their friend. So we solved that for you as well. So now, once you've agreed to the total charge and you know how much you stand to make, at that point you would move down to the payment section. And by default, single payment is selected. So again, because I clicked that autofill at the top, it just filled out the form here with some fake credit card info. For anybody taking screenshots, unfortunately, this won't work on Amazon, so don't bother. But if one person's willing to pay for everything and collect from the other 4 passengers, fantastic. Single payment is selected. You've entered your credit card payment info. You click agree to the terms and conditions and simply hit book and pay. Now, let's say this is 5 friends who are traveling to Fiji together, and each one of them does want to use their credit card. At that point, you would just hit multiple payment, at which point you get a drop-down menu here that asks you how many credit cards you want to use. So let's say each person wants to use their card. You would use 5 cards. If you go enter the payment info, it's going to tell you you can't because you have to assign passengers to their credit cards. So how do we go about that? We've got our passengers right over here. We've got 5 card slots right over here. It's a very simple drag and drop system. Grab your passengers, assign them to their cards. So for example, you've got Savion over here for card number 1. Card 2 would be Lucius, so you could just enter Lucius right over there. Malcolm's got card 3, and so on. So as you flip through the tabs, whoops, little typo there. So as you flip through the tab, you'll see card 3 belongs to Malcolm, card 2 belongs to Lucius, card 1 belongs to Savion, and so on. So at this point here, you've marked up your fare by $1,000. You haven't divulged how much your incremental markup is. And keep in mind, again, this unlimited markup tool that we offer you, the hidden unlimited markup tool that we offer you, could be applied to a U.S. domestic net fare, same way it could be applied to an LAX to Fiji round trip. Any fare type, any itinerary, you name it. So you've marked up your ticket by the extra $1,000. It's all presented in one single charge, one line item on the customer's credit cards. They each have their 11.30, 40, or one person got a 1 penny discount here. But they each have their fare on their respective cards, and then you would just scroll right back down here, click on I agree to terms and conditions, and hit book and pay. Now, my demo account is not set to make a test booking with multiple credit cards, so we're just going to click back to one just for demo purposes, and we would hit book and pay. And at this point, you're looking at maybe a 45 to 60-second wait while it just confirms the reservation. On the confirmation page, you'll be provided a 9-digit Agencia Global booking confirmation number, as well as the airline PNR and record locator. If you have any questions before the tickets are issued, you could call us, you could email us, you could even chat with us right down over here as you see fit. And then tickets are issued within the hour by email. We were working on auto ticketing prior to the pandemic. I guess you could consider it still in the works, but hasn't been launched just yet. So this is what your confirmation page will look like. Here's the 9-digit Agencia Global confirmation number I mentioned, as well as your PNR. Your flight info is recapped right over here. And if you scroll down, you'll have both the itinerary and invoice available. If you just click on that, it'll download them as PDFs. We're actually headquartered in Montreal, which is why you see it's also available in French. Should you have French-speaking customers, by all means, download them in French. So we'll show you quickly what the itinerary looks like. When you click on that, it'll download as a PDF. And when you open it up, you'll see right up here, Voyage à la carte. That is our parent company. So we just entered Voyage à la carte info right over here. But if you're at ABC Travel, when you register as such, that will automatically adjust Agencia to display ABC Travel right up here with your contact information. So if you're using a separate piece of software to generate your invoices and itineraries, no need to do so anymore. Agencia is doing that for you. So here's your itinerary recap. And then when you scroll at the bottom, we actually include links right over here to both the Visa HQ website and the airline's check-in page. So you could click on those, which is why we recommend you send these documents by email to your customers as well, so they have those live links. And then just to show you what the invoice looks like as well, click on English, open your document, and here you go. You've got your confirmation number. You've got the 5 passengers and how much they paid with the credit card number. So if you did use 5 different credit cards, then you would see 5 different line items here. But take note, because we use the single charge feature, the $1,000 incremental markup, even on the invoice, has been integrated into the base fare. So even here, you're showing a 0-fee invoice, basically, to your customers. So that's pretty much it. I know that I tend to speak quickly during these webinars because I don't want to keep you on the line for an hour and a half while we go through every bell and whistle we have to offer. But if anyone does like what they see, please feel free to register with us. I'll show you how to do that. So we'll just log out right over here. When you go to www.agenciaglobal.com, you'll be brought to our landing page right over here. Click register. Very painless process. It's maybe a 1-minute process at most. We ask for your business name, email. We do ask for some form of accreditation, any of the ones that you're seeing here in the drop-down menu, your address, and then a master agent name. So you would put who the main user of the account or the primary user of the account is. And then that master agent, once the account is activated, could add more master agents or just regular agents right underneath them. The difference between the two is a master agent could access commission statements, modify agency information, and view everyone's quotes and bookings, whereas a regular agent would just be able to view their own quotes and bookings and not have access to higher level stuff such as commission statements and all that good stuff. So please, and especially to also qualify for the Raffle Prize, please feel free to register with us. It's as simple as just filling out this form right over here. And as mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, there is no registration fee, no monthly fee, no transaction fee, and we're sharing 100% of our upfront incentives with you. So, Alex, during our preparation, I didn't mention this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I did present the commission promo, which shows 10% on Fiji from US and Canada and 15% from Australia and New Zealand. Of that 10% and 15%, how much is Fiji paying?
How much is what?
How much commission are you paying us for those itineraries, the ones that we're advertising at 10 and 15%? Are you offering the full amount, or have you given us a higher amount? And we're
getting an additional 5% for each of those destinations. Normally for the US to Fiji, it's 5%. And if you go to, if the trip is to Australia or New Zealand, it's 10. So here you're getting an additional 5. So it's a total of 10 to Fiji instead of 5, and a total of 15 instead of 10 to Australia and New Zealand.
So you heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Does that answer your question?
Yep, the 10% and the 15% you're paying us is 100% of what's going to the agent. Nothing being kept by Agencia. So on that note, Doug, that's pretty much it. I'll turn the floor over back to you for Q&A if anyone has any questions.
Okay, we do have several. So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for that concise presentation, and I'm glad your internet was performing better for you today. It certainly makes for a
I
smoother
kept my fingers
presentation.
crossed. Yeah.
I always do. All right, we have a couple questions here for Alex. Well, the first one is a statement. One of our attendees is wishing Fiji Airways a happy 70th birthday.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, 70 years this year. Thank you.
That's fantastic. We have a question. You had mentioned your 3 gateways. Somebody's asking if you have any East Coast gateways or any plans for an East Coast gateway.
We don't have East Coast gateways at the moment. I don't know if there are any plans, but we can actually, you can book them through a co-sharing with American Airlines or Alaska Airlines through our hubs and gateways in LA and San Francisco.
Perfect. And I guess that brings up the next question, which would be which airline alliance is Fiji Airways affiliated with?
Well, One World.
One World. Perfect. Okay. Here's a question that always comes up at webinars for the past year and a half is what are the COVID-related travel requirements for Fiji currently?
Great question to ask. Basically, the requirements are fully vaccinated, PCR test within 3 days before departure, and they will be also checked once again within Fiji within 2 days for another PCR test. And coming back into the U.S. as a U.S. mandate, they will also require another negative PCR test within 3 days for getting into the U.S.
Sure. Great, thank you. Alex, another question. Could you please explain the duties of a wellness ambassador on board?
Great question. It's a brand new position, and it was created for due to the COVID pandemic. So basically, they are there to answer any questions and to make sure that people are wearing their masks, and they have some medical background as well. So they will be there to assist with any questions and to make sure everybody follows the rules of precautionary rules that we have due to the pandemic.
Great, thank you. Jimmy, just a couple comments here. One was, I really appreciate the single charge option. Thanks for offering it and for explaining it so clearly.
Awesome.
And the other is the multiple credit card is the best needed feature. Thank you. So apparently,
great. So on that note, Doug, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Doug, if I could just chime in there. So sure. Regarding the multiple credit card tool, the single charge tool, and any other features that I showed, obviously I kind of tried to do an express presentation here. But if anybody does want maybe to set up a more in-depth one-on-one webinar, please feel free to reach out to me, and it'll be my pleasure to set something up where we could go through everything in detail together.
Thank you, Jimmy. That's great. Couple questions about Agencia. Somebody's asking if it's a U.S.-based or a Canadian-based company, and a little bit about the background of Agencia.
Yeah, so we're headquartered in Montreal, in Canada, but we do have our U.S. office just outside of Atlanta. So that's what allows us to negotiate point-of-sale content in both Canada and the U.S. Our parent company, so Agencia Global is basically the name of our booking platform. The company itself is called Voyages a la carte. Voyages a la carte actually started off as a brick-and-mortar travel agency in Montreal back in 1991. And then when the original owner was ready to retire, his son took over the company and kind of leveraged his father's relationships to negotiate contracts with the airlines with whom his father had created partnerships, and flipped the agency over to a consolidation model. So that was in 2012. In 2014, we acquired a company called Alio Tours, which already had a a very big agent footprint up here in Canada, which almost instantly made us one of the biggest consolidators in Canada. And then in 2014 as well, that's where we kind of expanded out south of the border and basically reached out to the same airline partners that we were working with in Canada and said, hey, we're here, we're in the US, we'd like to give this a crack as well. You know what our support is like in Canada. We'd love to support you and sell your fares in the US. And the rest is history. Here we are.
Excellent, thanks. Can you talk a little bit about your business hours, the availability of your call center, both during hours and after hours?
Absolutely. So actually, I should have done that earlier. So if you just click on Contact Us right over here, you'll see our hours of operation both by phone, email, and live chat. And you could call us right over here at 1-844-544-FARE or by email contact@agenciaglobal.com. So if you do want that one-on-one webinar, for example, please feel free to email us right over here. I'll get in touch with you directly and we'll set something up. If your question is not urgent and you just want to send us a note, then feel free to fill out the form right over here and fire away.
Thank you. A couple questions regarding this. If we belong to a host agency, do we need to sign up under the host agency, or do they do it using their own business name and information?
So that all depends. I've had that experience with many home agents who are interested in working with us. Usually an agent will join a host agency because they don't have their own travel agent accreditation. So you don't have your own IATA, ARC, PID, CLIA, True Number, any of those forms of accreditation. If you don't, then you would have to sign up through your host agency. If you want to reach out to me, perhaps we don't already work with that host agency. If you want to reach out to me, let me know who that is. It'll be my pleasure to reach out to them to see how we could get a partnership going. That said, if you do have your own ARC number, for example, and you are an accredited agent, feel free to reach out to us. We'll set up your account and away you go.
Perfect, thank you. Somebody's asking if you accept either the Discover or Diners Club credit cards.
No, for the moment, it's just Visa, MasterCard.
Okay, very good. Somebody's asking if we'll send an email out with more instructions about how to register, and we'd be happy to do that. Not a problem.
Sure.
Yep, and we'll include contact information on that as well.
Sure, and just to recap again, like you could just, here, I'll log out. If you go to www.agenciaglobal.com, so here's the URL right there. This is the landing page it brings you to. Registers right over here, highlighted in blue. So once you click on that, it'll bring you to that form I showed you a little while ago. So once you fill out this form and hit register, I actually received that registration request in my inbox, and then we just kind of go through the information, approve your account, and you're ready to go. But it's really as simple as that.
Excellent. Okay, that's the same as that. Somebody else thanking you for the presentation. Simple, straightforward, looks like a great booking system. So you have a new convert,
awesome.
at least one. Let me see.
Well, if it's just one, it's going to be pretty easy to figure out who won the raffle prize, right?
Yeah. I'm sure there's more than one.
Yeah.
Great. A couple people are saying they've already gone and signed up for Agencia. So there we go. Great. Somebody else, thank you for the information today. And looks like that's all the questions. So let me echo that sentiment and thank you both, Jimmy and Alex, for the presentation today. Very informative. We do appreciate it. And thank you to the travel advisors for joining us. Jimmy, Alex, any last words?
Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you again to everyone. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much what Alex said. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to sit in with us. Doug and I were actually talking right before the webinar launched, and we're very well aware that travel agents are getting bombarded with webinars these days. Everyone's trying to educate you as much as possible before the industry takes off again. So, it's no secret that you're getting bombarded with these requests, and that's why I really appreciate that y'all took the time to be with us today. Looking forward to working with all of you.
Absolutely. There was one more question about the webinar being recorded. Yes, it was recorded, and we will be sending you a link to that recording. And along with that link, we'll advise who will be the winner of the prize from Fiji Airways. So with that, we'll wrap up today's webinar. Thank you all very much. Please keep an eye on your email for future training sessions, and we will see you then. Have a great day.
Bye,
Bye everyone.